Ladies and gentlemen, super welcome to today's video, guys. Today we're doing yet another review, and this review is divided into segments, and I will try my best to give you some good and some bad in all of these segments, because remember, even the sun has its spots, and I want to help you figure out if this game is for you or not. So let's do this. And today's meat on the grill is no other than the newly released brutal old-school first-person shooter immersive sim Hyperviolent. Let's begin with the story, shall we? So in this game, you find yourself stranded on a remote mining asteroid after responding to a distress call, but things quickly take a turn for the worse as you discover that an ancient evil has awoken on the asteroid thanks to mankind's desire for power. This evil has brought forth monstrous creatures that surround you, threatening your survival. As you progress through the game, you'll uncover the mystery behind this madness and fight your way through hordes of enemies. Now the basics of the story is simple and not unique in any way, which is, it is what it is. But what makes it so great is the starting cutscene that really sets the tone from the get-go. And that tone just keeps on building and building as you progress through the crazy, well-crafted environments with blood-filled walls, flickering lights, and dark corridors filled with terminals that you have to read. Yep, I hate reading too much in games. If I wanted to read, I go and read a book. But not everyone feel like I feel. And I have to say that what is written in these terminals are stories of how the events unfolded, sometimes in private logs and sometimes in more overall fashion. And they are very well written. Let me tell you that much. I actually started feeling for this mining facility and its employees that has now turned into monstrosities. And that is something I rarely feel in games, but in this I did. And another great part is that you can skip reading all of these logs if that is what you desire. But they will help you progress, so keep that in mind. But the absolute most essential parts are being told through voice acting, so you can skip it if you want to. But oh god, I love voice acting. It's very underrated and every game should have it. Why don't they? The story in this game, however, and how it's told through its dark environments is actually some of the best that I have experienced in a very long time, so double thumbs up for that. Now when it comes to the gameplay of Hyperviolent, let me start with the premise of the game, and that is, compared to other boomer shooters, more slow-paced and a lot more inventory management-ish. And that's exactly how this game should be. The more slower pace that the overall game has helps with the horror elements a lot. You never know what enemy is lurking behind the next corner, because they don't always charge full speed ahead at you. Sometimes they need a clear line of sight before they do, and when they do, there's no ultra fast sprint that you can use to run away. You have to face them dead on. There is actually no sprint at all in this game. And oh boy, that mechanic made me jump more than once. And another great thing about the gameplay is how you can akimbo any combination of one-handed weapons. For example, as you have seen in the footage rolling, you can have one gun and one melee weapon, or you can have an SMG and a pistol, or whatever your heart desires. And this makes for some crazy innovative gameplay experiences that you can create all on your own. Now, there is a downside to the guns, and that is that they all have different stats, like accuracy and damage. But especially for the one-handed weapons, the base accuracy is insanely low, so aiming at the head will maybe 1/3 of the time actually hit the head. Sure, it adds to the realism of holding a gun in one hand, and it also adds to the intense moments when you're shitting your pants and now your shots are missing as well. But it doesn't add to the fun factor. Sure, a little recoil is fine, but in this game it's off the charts high in my opinion. However, a huge upside to the weapons is that the melee weapon works flawless, and the variation of guns you will come across is stunning. Everything from energy pistols, rocket launchers, and chopped up limbs that you can use as weapons, and everything in between. And using all of those weapons for some crazy combinations in your hands makes for a true highlight of the game. Overall, I would say that the combat is great in this game. game. It is super scary, super intense, and it lets you be innovative with the combinations. However, the melee weapon will be used more often than not, due to the super low accuracy of the guns. But there is one thing that can improve the base accuracy of your guns, and that is secrets hidden throughout the maps. If you do a little digging and exploring, you might come across one of these secrets and they will reward you with a weapon upgrade. And in my opinion, that's a really nice touch. Often in boomer shooters, secret areas, they often reward you with ammo, armor or health, but in this game it feels so much more rewarding finding one of these secrets, as the reward you're getting actually makes you permanently stronger. Now, there is a lot more to the gameplay than just combat, this being an immersive sim that really does not hold your hand at any time during the game. To progress, you will have to use your brain and detective skills. For example, at one part of the game, I had to log into a computer to find a code to another room, but the password to access the computer was not handed to me. It was written on a wall with blood inside another room, so my brain had to add the text I saw to the computer I saw to get the code I think I needed to the room that might have been the right way to progress in the level. Did that make any sense at all? Well, that's how it was. A few times it was so hard figuring this out and it ended up being a little frustrating, but at most times it was incredibly satisfying cracking the code, and that returns us again to the reading. It's still not essential. If you're smart enough, you can just look for codes or keywords in the text and that's all you really need, but I do recommend reading some of it at minimum, for it did really heighten the experience as I mentioned earlier. Now the inventory side of things is just as you'd expect. Some items takes one slot and bigger ones takes two, but what always has me worried in immersive sims like this is the amount of loot and junk you will come across, as your inventory is limited. But I was pleased to find that apart from the weapons, not all that much will fill your inventory. You essentially have heals in two formats, weapons including grenades, and occasional material for crafting grenades, etc. There really is no useless junk that will fill your inventory space, but you will have to choose what weapon to keep and what to throw out after a while. Some really well crafted mechanics and super satisfying but sometimes frustrating detective work makes this into a true love letter of the old school immersive sims like System Shock and Deus Ex, which in my opinion we have seen far too few of. So I'm very pleased that this game is here right now and it's being done in the right way so far. Now the graphics of the game is, as you might have noticed already, very pixely, but the pixels that are present here, they are gorgeous, especially the environments. They are super well crafted with a nice touch of modern lighting, 3D models and old school. Something that could have used a little more detail to them though is the enemies. Sometimes, especially when getting close, their pixels are too big and it doesn't really fit in with how the weapons and the environments look. Everything is just more clean and detailed than the actual enemies, making them feel a little out of place. But the environments, they truly are the highlight of the graphics, with a ton of variety to them, super well crafted details and a ton of gore. It just really helps set the game's super dark tone and immersive feeling. And when it comes to the audio, one part of it could actually use a little work, and that is the mixing department. The enemies, they are overly loud when dying. Even though I turned everything down to 50%, whenever an enemy dies, they scream so loud I eventually had to move my headphones away from my ears because it was so loud. But other than that, the gun sounds great, the ambience is spot on, and the music is a fucking blast to listen to. Alexander Brandon, who did the music for Unreal and Deus Ex, was a part of making the music for this game, so I mean, it can't be anything other than great. Now in conclusion, this is a true love letter to the old school immersive sims that in my opinion we have seen far too few of, and I'm glad to say that this is a good one. It almost nails everything it sets out to do. With a few tweaks here and there, this places amongst the best in its category. Now I hope I helped you in figuring out if this game is for you or not. Please leave a like if you liked the video, leave a comment down below, let me know if this game is for you or not. And for more awesome boomer shooters, don't miss these.